Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one week and maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check where if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip of my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it. That's about it.
And you said this is not like her.
Not at all.
To run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, it's interesting. He asks this question, and she kind of sees him off with that narrowed eyes of like, why are you even going down that route? We've done everything. I don't know why she's seeing him off this territory. Now, there could be all kinds of reasons of why this terror and why this concern of like, don't even investigate that, because there could be fear of more violence towards her, towards other children, family members, or maybe she's involved in some way. I don't know where to go on this one at the moment. I don't have the information as yet on that. But there's certainly something going on. There's certainly something going on, because you would not see that person off the territory of further investigation with that look of almost incredulity as to why are you even bothering me with this and going down this route, unless it was maybe a police officer and you're going, look, come on, man, let's get on with this. Let's get out there and look. You're bothersome. You're an idiot. Let's go look. And now she has to remember what she was wearing. The eyes go to locate what she was wearing. By now, in my mind, that should be a list. That should be a memorized list. Here's what she looked. Here's her name. Here's what she looks like. I don't even know whether she's got, at the moment, I don't know whether she has blonde hair or dark hair or auburn hair. I don't know. I don't know what color her eyes are. I don't know what kind of shaped face she's got. So there's been no description of, how tall. There's no description of the child at this point. I don't know why. And the list of what she's wearing should be wrote, because she should have said it so many times to so many people that you wouldn't need to search your memory for it. In my mind, I could be wrong. We might be able to drag up a whole bunch of stuff where that isn't true, but it's outside of my expectations of the behavior given the circumstances at this point. Scott, where do you go on this one?
All right. After that first question, the leg jiggling is back to a 10. That means her stress is way up again, because it's going up and down, because you get worn out after a little while of that stuff. You get all worked up and then you try to relax a minute, and then it goes back to when there's something else that triggers it, the stress comes back. Now, I've talked about this before, and for example, when people say button or button for button, drives me up the wall, and I found one more that drives me up the wall that I hear every now and then, and it's one of those linguistic viruses that go around. And when this guy says tongue, he says tongue. That interviewer, I can't stand it. And then he says, what is she wearing? He says, what is she wearing? But I'll leave that right there. So anyway, when he asked what Madeline was wearing last, she swallows, and then she starts giving this prepared answer that starts with, she was last seen. That's dispatcher talk. That's not the normal vernacular for for normal walking around everyday people. That's what the dispatcher says. She was last seen wearing this, as she's given the information to whoever's doing the search, or when the search starts, or when they're looking for whoever it is, or when the police officers show up to the scene. So that's odd as well. So she's thought about that. So there's something going on there. And then after that, she's the fading facts on the end when she says, "That's about it." She said, that's about it. It goes really quiet. So something's up here as well. She's this is something's not right here. Something's not right in here. Now, the leg jiggling goes back to full on with every question. It settles down while she's answering, and then when the question comes back, she starts bouncing around again. And at the very end, we see what I call, and what I coined, monkey mouth. That's when your mouth makes a circle, goes. We saw that with Lance Armstrong. If you watch him, he does it. There's very few times have I seen it, but that's when your stress is at the most. They'll do that. And I searched and searched and searched to give examples of it on here. The only one I had was the Lance Armstrong. But go look at that. He does it one time. I think it's during his interview. Maybe it was with Oprah. But that's when someone is stressed through the wazoo, man. That's when they start making monkey mouth. And she definitely had it there. So she's really worried about this. Okay, that's all I got.
There's going to be a whole bunch of monkeys. A whole bunch of monkeys super upset with you, going, "I don't do that."
Chase and I still haven't gone.
Don't do that.
Okay,
like, those gorillas do. Those gorillas do, and the chimps. But us monkeys, no, we never. They
don't do it. So I should change it to gorilla mouth.
I don't know, but I know I know the monkey community are going to be like up in arms. They're going to be like, "That's Scott."
Well, halfway up in arms. They'll be in the grotesque plane. Yeah. That one. Okay, sorry. I'm so used to going last. I just always think it's over when it's my turn. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, my one of my pet peeves with linguistics is when somebody puts a TH at the end of height, and they say height.
Oh,
like width. No. It's very common in the U.S. somehow. Wow. But in this clip, the hopelessness in her response to the reporter saying, "We've looked everywhere, nothing can be done." I am now at this point officially over the edge, and I'm past the 50% mark on saying, in my opinion, that she likely knows something about the disposition of her daughter. She's a very socially driven person, and I think she feels guilty maybe asking for help when she knows or may know that she's going to waste people's time. I'm not saying she's involved.
Nice point. Didn't think of it that way.
But I do think there's a very good possibility she knows that a search won't do much. And the reason she's not pleading for help and asking for her return instinctively, which is what I think we should be seeing, is that she has knowledge maybe about where somebody is or what happened to somebody. And at every moment, I would fully expect to see grief or sadness or worry or concern. There's fear. And the fear behavior is specifically spiking in precisely all the wrong places, right when she's being asked about details, not when she's talking about her daughter being taken. That's when you would expect to see the fear. That's why context is so critically important when you're looking at behavior like this. And her breathing, she's starting to try to lock that down. My wife is a classically trained ballerina, and they have some training. I don't know what it is, but it's like up there with the SEAL teams on controlling that stuff. I can't get my wife's breathing rate when she's trying to hide it from me. And she's getting close to this little locking it down. The trouble with locking down your breathing rate when you're under stress and pressure, as Mark would say, is that it's like plugging a hole somewhere where that's going to come out, and it's going to be more exaggerated and more dramatic because the demand for oxygen that adrenaline sends to your body, it doesn't go away. So that's why we saw that big spike here, in my opinion. Greg,
tell us about your ballet thing. You know more about that than we do. Tell us about that.
The ballet thing? Oh, yeah, that's me. It fits me perfectly.
From your training? From your training?
I had some training with that, sure, yeah. Do you know why? You know why you're bothered by the word button being pronounced that way? Because you're a boomer. Because people under 40 all pronounce it that way. They just do.
Pronounce it button and button?
They've changed the way the pronunciation from like words like Manhattan, button. It's changed over time. It is one of those things. Just like I guarantee you still put 2 spaces between a period and the next word. And
back off on
that
that.
annoys the hell out of me.
younger people don't. Younger people don't. So the world's changed, Scott, just so you know. And it's okay if I did ballet. I didn't. I just had to say that, Scott.
Yes, you did.
So here's one of the funny things in this. When she first starts off, when people say that is a pause word, and they don't say it when they're out of information. They say it when they're looking for the next thing to say. So they say, if I'm saying then I'm going to say something else. And even Forrest Gump knew when it was time to say, that's all I know about that, but she doesn't. She tries to fill in and she tries to add something new. And she says, I don't know what to add. Well, you shouldn't add anything. You should just shut up. When you're done delivering the facts you have about this case, to your point, Chase, it's starting to look really, really stinky. If I go back and look at the places I've seen stress, they were around waiting. There was a lot of stress and something odd. Then there was stress around what was the last thing you said to her. There was a stress about where was she or where is she. Those things are all in the wrong places. It should be stress about when did she disappear and that kind of thing, but there isn't. And then if you pay close attention to her breathing and all of the increase and concern in her brow, all of that stuff comes. Her face changes. All of it comes at that one question about, do you know where she might be? Mark, I agree with you. Those eyes narrow, the face twists. This is a deviation from everything we've seen to now. More importantly, she loses verbal fluency and starts to edit as she's speaking. She says, well, she would have waited for me, but we checked close because she was close to where my mom's office. That's just more information that has zero value to what you're asking and where you're going. And then she gets to that the last indicator with the eyes is that intake eye. I'm always saying, and Chase, every one of us except Mark knows from shooting dominant eye, that intake eye gets narrow in people when they're really uncomfortable in the situation, and watch hers get more and more narrow as we go in there. I agree with you. The last scene wearing is a weird choice of words. Who says that? Chase, if I ask you, hey, tell me what your son was wearing this morning. Well, he was last seen wearing. No, that's odd. Nobody talks that way. That's guilty knowledge. And there are 2 other things. Yeah, there's 2 other things that are really interesting to me. I talked about baseline eye accessing. This, down to the gray hibiscus flowers, is a memory thing. It is a memory thing. And she's going boom, boom. She's going to a locked space, but it's exactly opposite of where she's been going when asked questions about how the day unfolded. That's enough reason for me to be agitated and go after more information and try to figure out where the deviations are. And that is a clear, clean, single sensory channel question. It's all about appearance, nothing to do with feelings or look or sound or any of that other stuff. So now we got some deviation in baseline there. The last one that I would be really concerned about is the guy asked a question about an argument where she would have left, and she says, not recently. Not recently. And when she says not recently, she breaks eye contact in an uncomfortable way she hasn't done. The follow-up question is, okay, were you ever in an argument that would have made her leave? 2 days ago? Yesterday? What was recently to you? I would have asked those questions because something may be up that you would uncover with that question. And it's a pretty innocuous when she brought it up. That's all I got. And I don't have any ballet training. Trust me. If you'd ever seen me dance, you would know that.
He shows us all that. Show us a plie. You know, tell us that story about that time you hurt your leg doing a plie.
In a video game from the 80s?
I think it's a plie.
No, plie. Isn't it plie? They go plie and they do something.
Plie? Yeah.
Never been to ballet in my life. Don't know.
Plie.
No, plie.
Well, ask Michelle. She'll know.
I will.
This is what bothers me.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one weekend. Maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check where if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip of my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it. That's about it.
And you said this is not like her
Not at all.
to even run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her.
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.